folks, Spencer Rumpel with the Northwest Company. Guess what? Hey, look at this. I'm in this city. Yeah, I'm in Winnipeg. You won't believe where I am. I'm at the headquarters for the Northwest Company. They call this Gibraltar House 77 Main Street is where I'm at. Bright lights, big city. I can't believe it. You know what? They called me in. I got a meeting here, and then I actually wrangled and arranged a interview with Jim Caldwell, the president of the company. So I'm pretty excited about that. A little bit starstruck. I can't believe he said okay, but heck, let's go on in and let's go in and see if we can talk to him. All right, I'll give this a roll. Hey folks, Spencer Rumpel with the Northwest Company here, working for Northern stores all across Canada's Great North. And today, I got a really special guest with us here. You're not going to believe this. This is the president of the company. I mean, do I look kind of nervous because I'm a bit starstruck? But guess what? He takes time for guys like me. I said, can I get a chance to interview you? He's busy as heck, of course. So guess what? This is his lunch break that he's given time for me for. Jim, thank you so much.
Anytime, Spencer. Anytime.
It's just a pleasure.
Good seeing you again.
Yes, thank you. You know what? I guess what I wanted to do to start off was I was hoping you'd give us a little bit of more of a rundown about the company. You know, we're a large company, and anyone in the north, of course, has heard of Northern and North Martin and what we do. But in the south, when I'm in the cities or I'm in the south, oftentimes people are like, the Northwest Company, who's that?
Sure.
So maybe you could just give us a little rundown.
Well, and there's a reason. This is, I'll bet you fewer than 1% of Canadians have been to many of the communities we serve in the north. When you consider that,
that's right.
You know, we have 140 plus stores, 88, 89 of them are fly-in only. That's kind of why people haven't been there. And so, you know, the cool thing about our business is that I've never met a group of people so committed to serving the communities that we operate in. And that we serve, and we constantly say we serve the communities because that really truly is what we believe and what we do. But I've never met a group of dedicated people so committed to ensuring food security in these very hard to service communities. And everybody understands our purpose, to help make the lives of people better in the communities we serve.
How big is the company?
You know, I think that when you think about the scale and scope of the company, it's such a variety. One, if you think about the scale and scope of our stores, we have stores that are, you know, 2,000 square feet all the way up to 60,000 square feet. We have stores in high Arctic and the low Arctic, on the East Coast, in central Canada, in Quebec, in the Prairie provinces, in the territories, and every one of them is different. Whether it be different cultures, different languages, and certainly different, very, very, very diverse communities. But to service that, the scope and scale doesn't stop there because we have air hubs that service these communities. I talked about the fly-in earlier. We have air hubs in Thompson and Kapuskasing and Red Lake and Pickle Lake and La Grande in Quebec, where product is trucked and then loaded on the planes and flown into communities. We have a shipping business out of Quebec that services the sea lift markets in the July to October time period when that ice freezes just enough to let the ships come in with containers to last the communities for the winter for their dry grocery needs. And so it is an amazingly complicated, diverse, spread out business that it takes the skill of Nor'westers to operate. And boy, do we have great people. I can't tell you the number of people I've met over the last couple of years, 20, 30, 40 years with the business. And that speaks something about the company itself. When people, they come and they stay. I often say to people, there's one of two things that are going to happen when you join this company. After the first 2 weeks up north, you're going to wonder what you did. And maybe it wasn't for you. But more often than not, the other thing happens. And that's where you absolutely fall in love. There is no in between. You either fall in love with the responsibility to service the communities, or you don't.
You travel all around. You've been to most of these stores.
Yes, getting out to community, getting out and seeing our people, and understanding what the needs are in the stores, so that we can take that back to this office, where this office exists to serve the needs of the stores.
A lot of people don't know that there's a training center here in Winnipeg as well. I try to talk about it whenever I can because I went through the training center myself. I was really impressed with the whole process, the things we learned there. It was just really impressive. And I know now you have a chance, being that that's here in Winnipeg, you get to go to the training center and meet the new recruits as well?
Yeah, every time we have a new class in, always make a point of going down, and not only myself, but many of the executives here, many of the other different departments go and meet with these new trainees, new to the business, to talk about the company and talk about either our own experiences or give them information that they're going to need to prepare them for their first trip to the north. So our department managers in training and our store managers in training will spend 4 weeks in call it a really it's their first 4 weeks with the company, and they're going through cultural awareness training because it's so important we prepare them how to be respectful and why we're in a situation that we're in today with Indigenous relations, what the history of that is, so that they understand where we came from and what we're doing about it today as a company with things like we talk about the promise, and which is our commitment to Indigenous peoples in Canada, so that they're aware of what the company's doing, they're aware of what their responsibilities are with respect to reconciliation and how they should be interacting within the communities. But we also give them the details of some of the basics of operating a store, so that when they go to the community, they're ready for that next phase of training, which is usually in a training store for a number of months, depending on the role, to help them with sort of real life practice of what they learned back in the training center. They apply it in real life with some supervision, and then after that, they're ready to go to the community that they've been assigned to, or when they were originally hired. So it's a very good process. It's one that we're very committed to, and I think it does a lot of good for the company.
Oh, just impressed with that whole training center and the way that whole system is working there right now. It's really encouraging.
Yeah, and it's meant to be a safe place for them to learn, where they're not in any real world environment. We create a real world environment that isn't, so that they can make those mistakes that are a natural part of the learning process, and just help them understand who we are as a company as well, because it's important they understand the type of company that they're joining.
That's right. I enjoyed when we got our first store, being a store manager in a community that only has one store. That's all they had, and suddenly you're an important member of that community. You have a lot of responsibilities, and if they had anything happening, they'd invite me over to cut the ribbon and do different things and help out with stuff. And there was just that becoming a community member just seemed to happen right away and be such an important part of it. And as store managers, we're moving to these areas, so it's so neat to see that happening.
Yeah, I often talk about our managers in community, because it is such a different environment than Southern retail. And so many of the leaders that come from the outside the company and join us, in Southern retail, you can walk into a store and you don't have a clue who the store manager is. The store manager in Southern retail isn't meeting with the mayor of their community every week. The store manager in Southern retail, the customers don't know what he was doing or she was doing in their backyard last night. In the communities we serve, the responsibility of a manager or leader in the community is so much different, and that's why preparing them for what's coming, what they're going to experience, is so critical, that we do it both at the training center but also through their training stores, so that when they do get in a community, they're ready for it. Our most successful leaders are the ones that when they go into community, they become part of the community. Indigenous communities are very, very much based in family and giving and caring. And when you talk family and community, it's not just the family that's living in your house. Family is the community, and in order to become part of that family, you've got to participate willingly and earnestly and with enthusiasm in community life. And in doing that, those leaders that have done that have just had a wonderful experience, and they're the ones that come for, I'm going to come for a couple of years and end up staying for 30. And I've met so many of them like that, because and all of them speak so passionately about when I ask, so where have you been? And they go, oh, I was here, and this was my favorite community, and this had the best fishing, and it's just, they get so enthusiastic to talk about where they've lived.
Yeah.
And that's really heartwarming.
Yeah, isn't it? Because you don't see that in people's jobs very often.
Yeah.
Where they have a passion for what they're doing, they feel like they're making a difference, you know, then that's someone who can be happy in their job.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Jim, I just thank you again. Thanks so much for
Absolutely.
taking this time
Absolutely.
with me. I'll let you go
I was
now.
thrilled about it.
Oh, God, right on. Well, you've seen it here, folks. Jim Caldwell's got time even for me.
And I've been and I've been trying to get on one of his videos since I joined the company, so I'm pretty excited about today too.
Hey, all right. That I didn't know. Thanks for watching, folks. Go North. Perfect,
Awesome.
Jim.
Good
I
job.
think
Good job.
I think we're a team.
Okay.
I think we should have a show.
There you go. Well, that's awesome.